Never felt so clean to be tarnished. Elden Ring just got brand new content in Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, sponsored today by Bandai Namco. New armor sets, skins for Torrent, a few new weapons, the Nintendo Switch 2 is running the game now, and 2 new beefy character classes have been added, the Idus Knight and Heavy Knight. First, I want to break down the Idus Knight. With some gear and early game upgrades, I suggest you seek out right when you first start a playthrough with it to help round out its core playstyle. The basic overview of what the Idus Knight starts fresh with, though, it's level 7 right from the beginning, with dexterity and strength being its highest attributes, with some faith if you want to build this out with a few incantation spells. Its starting weapon is the Idus Sword, a light greatsword, which starts with a D scaling in strength and dex, and comes with the Impaling Thrust weapon skill. You also get a really solid starter shield, the Silver Grooved Shield, which has 100% physical damage negation. Its armor is the Silver Grooved set, and overall with everything equipped, this class starts at a medium equipment load, giving you a decently good dodge roll. Some of the go-to combos I recommend with its starting weapon, one is just your heavy attack, heavy attack. This activates pretty quickly, doing a double swing each input. Another option, if you hold X and then R to two-hand your weapon, the dash into heavy attack, light attack is a strong sequence to initiate combat with. Essentially a 5-hit combo sequence by just pressing 3 attack inputs out of a sprint. And since this class starts with such a good shield, blocking an attack and then tapping heavy attack to do a guard counter is going to be a very useful sequence. Remember this if you're new. A guard counter can also easily break enemies' poise to set up for a critical attack, which will come into play more with an upgrade we're gonna grab later. Now let's get this class geared out a bit. First by going to get Torrent, the map revealed, and the whetstone knife from the Gatefront Ruins, just northeast of where you begin the game. Rest at the site of grace here, talk to Melina, and she'll give you an item that can be used to summon Torrent. Towards the center of the Gatefront Ruins, grab the map, and then look in these ruins for a stairway leading underground to find a chest with the whetstone knife. From there, head east to the location I've marked. Grab there the wondrous Physic Sacred Blade skill and access a waygate. If your map isn't revealed yet over there, it's going to look like this. Just head along the long road northeast to go to the third church of Marika. At this church, grab the Wondrous Physic, the Crimson Crystal Tear, and the Sacred Tear. At the site of grace, use the Sacred Tear to improve the potency of your healing flask. Then select the new option you'll see, Mix Wondrous Physic. Put the Crimson Crystal Tear on, and then you'll have an extra healing potion show up on your bottom bar. Next, go just a short distance north from that church you're at, up on the nearby hill that's overlooking the church. And up here, listen out for a sparkling sound, if that's even a sound. There's a scarab you'll need to take out before it runs off, which will get you the Sacred Blade weapon skill. Go back and rest at the church, select Ashes of War, the whetstone knife we got earlier gives you that option, and equip the sword with the Sacred Blade. This gives the Idus Sword a ranged holy attack that also imbues your blade with holy damage. That's a dual-purpose skill. Now you have a solid ranged projectile and a damage buff for your sword all in one. Now, still at that church we were at, go directly behind the church to find this somewhat hidden waygate in the grass. Light the site of grace here to give you a fast travel point back because we're going to be coming back soon. Then warp back over to the southwest side of the map that we started at, to then head to this location to grab another crystal tear, then following to the next spot to get a useful talisman and death root. Up on this higher section of cliff, you'll see a giant, and behind it, grab the Strength Knot crystal tear. You can put that on your Wondrous Physic potion to also provide a tiny strength buff along with its healing effect. Then at the next location, you're looking for a door in the side of the rocks with a spirit hanging out near the entrance. This is the Death-Touched Catacombs. Your new holy damage weapon buff should easily take care of the skeletons in here and neutralize their regenerative effect. After the boss of these catacombs is defeated, you'll get the Assassin's Crimson Dagger talisman, and in the chest nearby, a death root. Equip the Assassin's Crimson Dagger in your talisman slot, and now critical attacks give you health. Critical attacks are when you trigger a backstab on an enemy, or the special attack you can do when an enemy's poise is broken. Your guard counter perfectly synergizes with this talisman, so just block an attack and then tap heavy attack, and this often sets enemies up for a critical attack, which will trigger that health regain. This makes for a solid way to keep your HP topped off throughout combat without using as many recovery flasks. Now, next step, open your map, go far northeast back to the Bestial Sanctum that we opened up, talk to the big beast guy here, give him the death root we acquired, and this gets you the Claw Mark seal. Equip that to one of your open slots, and now you have a seal to cast incantations, but first we're gonna actually need some. So, head over to the Stormhill Shack side of Grace, and from there you're gonna head north to access your home base of Round Table Hold. Go off of the paved road into the forested path. Head along here till you see a stone bridge. At the end of that bridge, you're going to drop down to the left and then follow the path up. Make your way through this narrow section filled with some nice wolves, and then you'll eventually see a new side of Grace. Rest at it and Melina will visit you, offering to take you to Round Table Hold. Here's where you'll find the blacksmith to start upgrading your weapon, but also a incantation instructor. I recommend maybe grabbing Urgent Heal, but more importantly, Flame Sling. At a Site of Grace, equip those incantations by using the Memorize Spell function. Urgent Heal is just a backup restoration if you ever run out of flasks, and Flame Sling is a pretty strong early game fireball. If you hold the cast input, it can be charged to a stronger version, which can melt many of the basic enemies you'll be coming across. Now that you have equipped some spell options, I also suggest having a bow on you for a couple important reasons. Obviously, one is for pulling enemies when needed, but the second is a lifesaver in Elden Ring's world, since a bow can be used to disable some traps, like the obnoxious flame towers that litter numerous dungeons. Just one shot from your bow will turn those completely off. You can buy a longbow from the vendor in Round Table Hold, and even with your sword, shield, seal, and a bow equipped, this class is still at a medium equipment load at a starting level. Another option for an early game bow if you want a short bow instead is to head to this location just south of where you begin the game. Near the beach is a vendor that sells the short bow. Now, with all that stuff, your Idus Knight is tapping into some Paladin vibes and is better equipped to carry you through the next few main areas of the game. Before getting into the other new class option, the Heavy Knight, and things I recommend that you seek out to improve it, new in the Tarnished Edition on Switch 2 or in the Tarnished Pack on other systems, there are 3 new skins for Torrent you can find hidden throughout the map. Like the first one that I found was in a chest after beating the boss at the end of Stormveil Castle. After you find one of those, you'll see the option at a Site of Grace to change Spectral Steed appearance. Now you are guaranteed fancier. A quick tip though before moving on, because you could miss this if you're new to Elden Ring. Just hold X and tap R and you can switch to your shield while mounted. Then a short hold of ZL or ZR will hold out and block on either side. This can be used to guard against things being fired at you while on Torrent, which can be useful when you're just trying to get from point A to point B without getting killed. Okay, now it's time, let's get into the Heavy Knight class. The Heavy Knight starts at level 10, with Endurance being its highest stat for more stamina and higher equipment load. And Strength is its next highest stat, so you'll likely be building this class out with large, strength-scaling weapons. It begins with a hefty scimitar, a curved greatsword that has D-scaling in strength and dexterity that comes with the weapon skill Spinning Slash. Its armor is the Steel set, which is a very heavy-weighted armor set, putting you immediately into a heavy equipment load. This does allow the class to absorb tons of hits right from the start, but the downside is with all this weight you do have a pretty slow, ploppy roll, which is one of the main things we're gonna fix in a moment. Some of the go-to combos with the Heavy Knight's sword, the dash into heavy attack followed by light attacks, as many as you can squeeze in, is a great initiator. The dash heavy attack often staggers when hit, getting you just enough of an opening to chain into those light attacks. Another option, if you have a larger window of opportunity, the heavy attack into charged heavy attack. This is a powerful 3-hit combo that can quickly break the enemy's poise if you happen to find an opening to sneak it in. And one last little tip of knowledge if you're new to Elden Ring, if you crouch and tap light attack, you can quick access your weapon's dodge attack. Some other weapons you'll find have really great dodge attacks, so yeah, there you go, just crouch, light attack, and that's a shortcut to that animation. Now let's head to the early game upgrade route that I recommend for the Heavy Knight. Go to the Gatefront Ruins, rest at the Site of Grace, get Torrent, grab the map. Nearby in the ruins, go to the underground stair set, get the whetstone knife. From there, head along this route north to find a vendor that sells Ashes of War. From him, you're going to want to grab Quick Step and the one called No Skill, because we will need that in a moment. Rest at the Site of Grace and put Quick Step on your curved greatsword. With that, a simple tap of ZL consumes a tiny amount of FP to give you a quick evade, making up for one of the class's main shortcomings, a slow dodge roll. This speeds up the playstyle of the Heavy Knight and synergizes with something we're gonna grab coming up. Next, head to this location just east from where you purchased those Ashes of War to find an enemy outpost. Clear that out and you'll find a chest here with the Beast Crest Heater Shield. This is a 100% physical damage reduction shield and helps give this class a safer block. This will replace your quick step input with a parry. So at a Site of Grace, modify this shield with the No Skill Ash of War, which then gives you the ability to have a held out shielded block and access to that quick step at the same time. Now you can either absorb hits with that shield or quick step through them, making for a high survivability, chunky fast knight. Then go to the spot on the upper cliff to grab a crystal tear, then over to the death-touched catacombs. By the giant on that cliff, go past it, then grab the crystal tear. Then you're going to head over to the death-touched catacombs, which is the place in the side of the rocks with the spirit at the entrance. Finish the catacombs to get the Assassin's Crimson Dagger Talisman and equip that into your talisman slot. Using your guard counter to block an attack immediately followed by heavy attack will set up enemies for a critical, which this talisman will now give you health for. Also, the talisman works great with the quick step since you can use it to quickly rotate behind someone and trigger a backstab, which is another way to get that health regain property of the Assassin's Crimson Dagger. Next, head to the church to the east, grab there the wondrous Physic, Crimson Crystal Tear, and Sacred Tear. Upgrade your flask, then mix your new potion with the healing effect of the Crimson Tear and the strength buff of the other tier we picked up before. Now your Heavy Knight is pretty well equipped, and with those other defensive options we got, it makes up for some of the shortcomings of the class. For any class that you pick at the start of the game, though, other important things to grab in the early game like summonable spirits and a method to quickly rank up the damage of your weapon can all be found in my previous video titled Elden Ring Get Overpowered at the very start. Just search for that on YouTube or I'll have a link to it at the very end of this video. Also, I need to give a huge thanks to Bandai Namco for sponsoring this video today. Use the link I have down in the video description as well as in my pinned comment to grab Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, which has the Shadow of the Erd Tree expansion baked into it on Nintendo Switch 2. That's out right now. If you already own Elden Ring on another system, you can just grab the Tarnished Pack, which gets you those 2 character classes, their new starter weapons, 4 new armor sets, and 3 cosmetic skins for Torrent. Let me know, though, if you're just starting Elden Ring for the very first time ever with the Switch 2 launch. Or if it's time to return for yet another playthrough, which playthrough number will this make for you? Okay, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for checking this out. I'm Alex, and hope to spot you in the next one.
Oh, Tarnished, I see you're maidenless. Maybe you should get the Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, and then maybe you won't be maidenless.